Hello, it's with great pleasure that I can welcome you to this mini course on phrasal verbs. I'm teacher Paula from Paula's English, and here we go. Okay, in this mini course, you're going to learn what phrasal verbs are. Basically, you will learn 26 must-have phrasal verbs. You will also get some practice, and you will also learn when to use these phrasal verbs and when should be avoided. Okay, what are phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs are those verbs that can be followed by small adverbs, namely adverb particles or prepositions. Common particles are about, across, ahead, along, around, aside, away, back, by, down, forward, in, home, off, in, on, out, over, past, through, up. Some of them can also be used as prepositions. I switched the phone off. In this case, off is an adverb. I jumped off the wall. In this case, it's just a preposition. They can either have a literal or figurative meaning. And this is obvious in the sense that they can have various meanings according to the particle that's added to the verb itself. This could either be literal, so very concrete, or figurative, metaphorical. The adverb particles or prepositions making up a phrasal verb actually change the meaning of the sentence. So pay attention to what particle you add to the verb or which particle is already linked with a verb, specific verb. Here we go. The first verb is to break. Okay, so if you break with something or someone, it means that you put an end to a relationship. For example, Philip broke with Simona, meaning Philip ended his relationship with Simona. Or China broke with Russia. So they basically put an end to their relationship. If you break up, if something breaks up, it breaks in small particles. It's divided into several small parts. Figurative meaning, a marriage can break up sometimes. When a school of pupils break up, the term comes to an end and they start their holiday. So this is another meaning of to break up. Now let's pass to break through. If you break through a police cordon, you manage to force your way through it. If you break through, you can achieve success even if there are barriers. So the meaning is to go through some difficulties. Okay, if you break away from someone, you free yourself and run away. I broke away from him since he turned violent. Break down. Break down means stop working of a machine, a vehicle. For example, my car broke down yesterday, so it stopped working properly, it stopped functioning. Break in or break into. Get into a building by force. The thief broke in or broke into my house from the back door. So he managed to get into my house from a back door, from a door. To break off. To break off means, in the first place, to take off, to sever, to detach, to end a relationship or an association, to stop abruptly a conversation or a relationship, and that's it. And then we have to break out. If a war breaks out, it starts immediately. If a prisoner breaks out of prison, he escapes from it. If you break out in a rash or sweat, this appears on your clothes. And now let's have some practice. Practice now. So here you can find a series of sentences. There are some gaps. You have to fill in the gaps, picking up a verb from the verbs that we've just analyzed. So maybe you could pause this video, go back to the previous pages in order to get the phrasal verbs that are more adequate. Anyway, I'll give you some 5 minutes to fill in the blanks. Maybe 5 minutes are too much. Let's carry on. So you'll have all the time to fill in the gaps and with the right verbs. So I want now to disclose the answers. Here we go. Okay, let's look at them. Let's read them. We got home late because my car broke down on the way back. Sarah decided to break up with Carl because of his lies. So Carl is a liar, and Sarah decided to break up with him to end the relationship. Number 3, the student broke down when he heard he had failed the test. An epidemic of cholera broke out after the earthquake. So started in this sense. A dangerous criminal broke out of the high security jail last night. So he went out, basically, he escaped. The thieves broke in through the back door. He was able to break through all the obstacles, so to overcome all the obstacles, to pass through the obstacles without being touched by them, or anyway, he had he was successful anyway in overcoming the obstacles. Sarah's mother often breaks into our conversations, so she always interrupts our conversations, basically. Okay, now let's move on. Here we go again. The verb is to bring. Now, Bring forth means to give rise to produce. To bring forward, to anticipate the time or date of an event, state an argument or proposal. To bring forward an argument or a proposal. To bring in, to introduce something new, invite somebody to do a job, earn money. And bring out, to produce and put on sale, cause to show a feeling or behavior. And then to bring up, look after a child until he's an adult. It means to raise a child, for example, or to introduce a particular subject into a conversation. Now, I advise you to take note of these meanings, jot them down on paper, or if you wish, you can pause the video for some minutes and look into the various meanings at your own pace. Now, let's carry on. Okay, here we are. Let's start from the top. Bring down. First meaning, to cause or to lose power. Second meaning, to demolish. Third meaning, to disappoint. Bring back, to return, to restore, or to revive. Bring around or bring round, to persuade, to make somebody recover consciousness. To bring along, to take something or somebody with you. To bring about, because, or to make something happen. Once again, take note of these verbs with these particles, or pause the video to have more time to do that. Now let's carry on. Some practice. Substitute the underlined words with phrasal verbs with bring. I'll give you some minutes. Again, if you need more time, just pause this video and take all the time. But now I pass to the following slide. Here are the answers. Let's look at them. I would like the local authorities to bring in new measures to benefit the citizens. I was brought up by my parents to be tolerant and patient. So was raised by my parents. All these pictures bring me back my past. So these pictures make me revive my past, to live my past again. Number 4, bring your dictionary along, or bring along your dictionary for tomorrow's test. Number 5, the lawyer brought her round to change her mind about the divorce. So the lawyer managed to convince her. Number 6, many consumers would like the government to bring down the gas price, so to lower the gas price. Number 7, this new contract will bring in a salary increase for all the employees. So this new contract will introduce a salary increase. Okay, I hope that you're fine with your answers. Let's move on. Again, the verb is to come. Okay, so all the meanings are in this slide for you to see them. Okay, let's start with come down with. So to come down with means to become sick with an illness. To come out, to become available or known to the public. To come over, to visit a person or place casually. To happen to be affected strongly. To come up, number 1, come close to. Number 2, to be mentioned or discussed. Number 3, to take place unexpectedly. Now, again, let's start from the top left corner. So to come by, to gain possession of something, or to acquire something. Then meaning number 2, to pay a visit to someone. Come round or come around, to become conscious again, or to reluctantly agree. Come across, to discover something or meet somebody by chance. To come about, to happen. Now again, take note of these meanings. You can pause the video. Now let's carry on with some practice. Okay, so it's clear that they're to our way of thinking. Now you read the sentences and try to fill in the gaps at your own pace. And then we will see the answers. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Or as usual, you can pause the video. Okay, let's give a look at the answers. Okay, number 1, it's clear that they're coming around to our way of thinking. So they have been convinced. Number 2, mortgages, that are obviously loans. If you, for example, have to buy a house, you haven't got enough money, you can get a mortgage, so you can get a loan basically from the bank and buy a house. Mortgages are hard to come by. Number 3, I've come across an old colleague while shopping at the supermarket, so I basically met him by chance in the supermarket. Number 4, he totally changed his habits. What's come over him? What's happened? Number 5, the book comes out this week. I'm really looking forward to reading it. My uncle was feeling really bad yesterday. He actually came down with the flu. The problem came up at a news conference this week. So the problem emerged. Number 8, the discovery of penicillin came about by chance. So once again, penicillin was discovered by chance. Okay, so I'd like you to focus your attention on this. Phrasal verbs can be separable or non-separable, and they can have either a literal or figurative meaning. As I said before, phrasal verbs can be separable or non-separable. What does it mean? Okay, separable phrasal verb can have the object of the phrasal verb either in the middle of the phrasal verb or after it. For example, find something out or find out something. So the particle, it can be moved, right? At the end of the sentence or immediately after the verb. Non-separable. With non-separable phrasal verbs, the object can only come after the phrasal verb. For example, police are looking into the crime, and not police are looking the crime into. Separable phrasal verbs must be separated when you use a personal pronoun. Number 1. The online class, they've called it off. They've called it off. It is a pronoun. Number 2, I'll pick you up from the station at 3 p.m. Okay. When you have a pronoun, a personal pronoun, so separable phrasal verbs must be separated. So pick up actually means to collect someone in a car or in another vehicle to take them somewhere. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now let's move on. When should I use phrasal verbs? Okay, so it's important to know that these verbs are important, are extremely widespread, widely used in English, and please bear in mind that the meaning often changes significantly when used in a phrasal verb. Okay, so use these verbs when you speak, but don't use them when you have to write something in a formal way. So phrasal verbs are typically used in speaking or when you write in an informal tone, such as in a letter to a friend. Avoid using them in formal writing, such as essays or formal documentation. You can come across phrasal verbs also in the press and in the media in general. So they are extremely used in speaking, but less in writing, and especially they are linked to the tone that you're using. Okay, I'd like to give you 3 tips for learning English phrasal verbs. In the first place, use an English dictionary. When you don't know the meaning of something, check it up in the dictionary. It really widens your vocabulary. Let's pass to the second tip. Write unknown verbs and vocabulary. Why write? You will most likely remember the words you write on paper. And then group the verbs according to categories and to context. So it's highly important to write things down on paper and to classify verbs according to certain categories and to the context. This facilitates the learning process. And then, last but not least, practice through speaking. Use the new phrasal verbs into context, and above all, fix them by talking in English to your peers. Now, since they are essential, working through practice activities and regularly review the new language you can learn, the language you basically learn can help you accelerate your knowledge and understanding of English. So build your vocabulary and develop your English communication skills through practice and study. These are really, this is really essential for skills development. Now let's recap. Today you have learned what phrasal verbs are, when you should use phrasal verbs and when you should avoid them. You've also learned 26 absolutely necessary phrasal verbs for a B2 level. And then, last but not least, you've learned useful tips for learning phrasal verbs. Now, thank you.